All right, let's see. All right, ready? And in 5, 4, 3. Stop doing that.
Okay.
This is serious. It's serious business.
All right.
Ready? 5, 4, 3. Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of On a Couch Talking Sports. As always, I'm Robbie. This is Kyle. Kyle, how are you tonight?
Doing well. Just ended a great weekend. Yesterday I decided to take the day off from work yesterday, so I gave myself a 3-day weekend. So yeah, it's been pretty good.
Good job. Good for you. You need a day off every once in a while.
Thank you.
You work really hard, so you deserve a day off. And in particular, he deserved a day off yesterday because yesterday was Kyle's birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kyle. Happy birthday to you. Yeah.
Thank you for doing that, show.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, my good pal and co-host here turned 30 years old yesterday. Kyle, how does it feel being dirty 30?
I mean, it doesn't feel that much different from 29 to be honest. But, yeah, it should be. It's kind of hard to wrap my head around that one, but yeah.
So what I sort of came up with, because I wanted this to be a special episode, because we are celebrating Kyle's birthday and have been for the past few days. So what I decided is that right now I'm actually going to leave the couch. Yeah, that's right, folks. You heard me correctly. I am going to get up and I'm going to walk out of the room, and I'm going to give Kyle an entire segment to talk about whatever he wants. It's just him and you, the folks at home. All right? So, Kyle, the floor is about to be yours, man. Are you ready for this?
I think so. We'll see how it goes.
Well, good luck. And I'll be in there. Come get me when you're done.
All right, I will summon you back when I'm all set.
All right, sounds good. All right, I'll be right back.
Oh, man, okay. So, I think it's the first time that any of us... Was this actually the first time any of us went solo? Wow, okay. Hi, guys. Oh, God. Oh, man, there's going to be a bit of stuttering, I think, in this one. But anyway, so, thank you, Robbie, for doing that. Appreciate it. So for this segment, for those of you looking for an in-depth sports commentary, I'm just going to tell you right now, you're not going to get it. It's definitely not going to be related to sports in this one. So, but what I do want to talk about, I want to try out a segment that maybe I can bring back on. I used to do a radio podcast called The Sues. This was back when I was at Wheaton, and I did it for a little bit, I think a couple of years ago. And I wanted to try a new segment called Good Aspects of Bad Movies. And what I want to do is I want to take a movie that is universally reviled, a movie that is like hated by most people, I'd say, like hated by so many. It was one of the most critically panned, whether it's by major critics or just by the audience. And but I want to take I wanted to look at those movies and kind of like take their good aspects, like look at the good aspects of those, because even bad movies have good parts to them, right? So I wanted to start off with Batman and Robin because as we all know, Batman and Robin is probably the most hated Batman movie out there. Especially for fans of like the darker, grittier type of Batman, they hate this movie because it's a campy movie. So just a quick synopsis. It's about Batman and his new partner Robin from the last movie, Batman Forever. That's when they first met. And so this is technically the fourth entry in the series, in the long-running series. And so Batman had just defeated a bunch of villains in the past movies, and Robin was a sidekick. So basically it's about their two kind of like, getting trying to get along with each other while they're fighting crime, and they have to stop the evil Mr. Freeze from taking over Gotham, who then teams up with Poison Ivy, who's also evil because, and and it's just one of those movies where it just got so campy for so many people, and I think it turned a lot of people off of Batman after watching it. But honestly, looking back at it, I just watched this movie actually recently, and I've been watching it over the years. It's kind of one of those like so bad it's good type of movies. There's just something really fun about it that I personally enjoy. So yeah, let's just get into it. So first off, I'm going to go with kind of the actors of the movie. So I actually, a lot of people weren't a big fan of George Clooney's Batman. I actually really liked him. Well, not as much as Batman, as much as I would say Bruce Wayne. To me, George Clooney, I think, is like he's the perfect Bruce Wayne. I couldn't think of too many actors better than him to be Bruce Wayne. Aside from like Christian Bale. But no, I thought he was actually a really good Bruce Wayne. And I really liked his whole dynamic with Alfred. Alfred's the butler, for those of you guys who don't know Batman very well. And they had this kind of storyline where the butler was actually really sick. And I thought those scenes were really good. Were actually really good dramatic scenes. Like this movie kind of fleshed out the relationship more between Bruce Wayne and his butler, which the other movies actually didn't quite do as much, or at least before the Nolan movies kind of came out. So I thought that was kind of a nice, nice thing. I thought that was one really good aspect of it. I'm trying to think. The villains I thought were actually as cartoonish as they were, and the dialogue was pretty bad. They had horrible, like Mr. Freeze. They gave him the worst ice puns. Like there were times where he'd go, "Oh, cool party," or the Iceman cometh, and so they'd give him all these like really cheesy ice puns, and same with Poison Ivy. Oh, look, I'm Mother Nature, and all that stuff. But honestly, despite the cheesy lines, I actually really liked I like the actors' presence in the movies with their respective roles. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger played Mr. Freeze, and Uma Thurman played Poison Ivy, and you could tell the whole movie that they were having such a blast. They loved their roles. They were so into it, and they knew it was cheesy. I think they kind of knew it was cheesy, but like they were just really like they were there were scenes where Arnold Schwarzenegger was saying those ice puns, and he was like laughing with it. And I don't know. I like it when actors really like they just have fun with the role like that. They get into it. They don't take it too seriously, but they really kind of give it their cheesy best, I guess, if you will. So that was a good aspect. Let's see. Honestly, the effects. So, okay, a lot of people were not a big fan of like the overall kind of look of how they made Gotham City, because in the past Batman movies, and saying like the Tim Burton movies, Gotham City was it had this like very gothic feel. Like it was very dark, and especially in the first Batman, the second Batman, and then when they brought the new director, Joel Schumacher, who directed Batman Forever and this new movie, and he kind of brought out the colors. Like he kind of gave it more of this like 60s kind of camp vibe. So he made everything more neon drenched, and it was all colorful. But I still think it added kind of its own style. He still kind of like put in his own style. So I respect that a lot. I respect that he really tried to do something different. That hasn't been, well, because it did feel kind of like a mixture of like the dark kind of gothic feel of the older comics and the older movies, but with like also a splash of color also as well, kind of mixed in there with like from the 60s Batman. And so I thought that was actually kind of cool. It did have its own style, which is kind of, you gotta respect that, and the whole setting and everything. You could tell Joel Schumacher definitely put some. Even though the settings themselves looked like they were from kind of their own musical, but anyways, especially the museum scene, it definitely looked like it could have belonged in like Batman on Ice, like the musical, or that. But it was a style. It's just what they did. The movie was. You could tell the movie was made for a lot of toy commercials. A lot of toy commercials were associated with that movie, so that's what they were going for. The costumes were even pretty kind of. They had the nipple suits, which was I can't say anything good about that. I'm sorry. The nipple suits are not a great idea. Um, but I did like the design of the Batmobile, though. That was cool, and every character. They also introduced Batgirl in this, which I thought actually was kind of a cool aspect because kind of at the time you didn't have that many female superheroes, so it was kind of nice to have. And that was one of the things where because I saw the interview with Joel Schumacher and he wanted to because before they only had I think Supergirl the movie, so it was kind of nice that they had this kind of because they never really introduced like a live action Batgirl before. I don't think maybe on the TV show for a little bit, but not in like a full blown movie and everything. So I also actually I thought the effects like the CGI like the effects that they made like the freezing effects and everything with I thought those actually held up pretty well, especially the fact the movie came out in '97. Where didn't really get CGI quite right that year. I feel like with movies like trying to think like Mortal Kombat, Annihilation. Oh God, don't even bother with that one. Or actually, no. You know what? I'm sorry. No, I take that back. Go watch it. Go watch it. Like you're gonna. It's a good time. It's like this movie. It's not a good movie, but it's a fun movie to watch. Guilty pleasure movie, I guess. But yeah, no. I thought overall the effects, the way they did, like they kind of had a mixture of like practical and CGI, and the CGI, they didn't overdo it. I feel like with the CGI, they did just what they needed to do with like the ice effects and the freezing, and I thought that looked good actually. They did a pretty good job, and they did a lot of practical plans with like the plants, like or practical effects. Sorry, with the plants when Poison Ivy, whenever she came on scene, so that was pretty cool. That they actually did a good job with that. And yeah, no, I think that was about it. Yeah, so it's it's not a masterpiece. It's not Batman and Robin is it's definitely no movie that's gonna be ever compared to like a movie like The Godfather or anything like that. But if you're looking for a good time, it's actually it's one of the few Batman movies you can actually watch with your kids. So if you're a parent and you're looking for a good live action Batman movie that you want to show to your kids, then this is the one. I'd say this is a good kind of because I remember this is the first one I saw. This movie came out when I was about 7, so I remember my dad took me to the theater to see it, and it was for a while it became one of my favorite movies. As a 7-year-old. So, yeah, no, I think it's a movie that kids. It's definitely geared more towards kids, but I think it has some appeal for adults too. I think just watching Arnold Schwarzenegger alone, I think, is just really really takes the cake for this one. And the other thing I wanted to mention too, I still think this movie and Batman Forever have the best live action version of Arkham Asylum. I thought that's where they were kind of really brought out more of like the gothic kind of tone for it, and I thought that was cool. Like they did a good job for that setting alone. I thought that was really good. Arkham Asylum that's the place. For those of you who don't know, that's the place where they put all the where Batman puts all the criminals there. So. Yeah, no, and last thing to go over before I invite Robbie over quick, I wanted to talk about the soundtrack. The soundtrack, that was, because it was made by this composer, Elliot Goldenthal. Now, he had to follow up a big act from what's his name? From Danny Elfman in the Tim Burton movies, because Danny Elfman, for the longest time, had the quintessential Batman theme. And honestly, he didn't, I can't say he topped it, but I still think it really stood on its own. It's hard to compare those two themes, but if you listen to the Elliot Goldenthal Batman theme, it's actually pretty cool. I think it worked for the style of the movie, and I think he's a great composer. He did movies like Alien 3, which I also had actually a really good soundtrack. Say what you will about that movie, but had a good soundtrack. And he did movies like I think Demolition Man. I think he did like Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within. So he did a lot of like really pretty. He had some pretty a lot of sci-fi action soundtracks under his belt. So great score. I think I think it was pretty solid. So that's kind of my overall. Just picking out the good parts of Batman and Robin. if you watch this, if you want to see more of these kinds of segments, then let me know. I'm not going to do them obviously on a Couch Talking Sports, but I'll. If you want to hear maybe more segments like these, I could maybe do them more on my channel, which is 100 times nerdier than on a couch. So if you like it, or if you have opinions too about what you liked or maybe didn't like about Batman and Robin, then feel free to comment here or comment on my other channel, the Suze18. So yeah, I think that about does it. Yeah, so I'm gonna go. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get Robbie. I think he's probably in New York by now because he probably didn't want to hear any of this. So I'll be back. Hey, Robbie. Oh, you're not in New York. Okay, good.
No, I'm not. Here, are you ready? You done?
Yep, I'm done.
I'm coming.
I'm done. Let's do this.
I'm coming. Woo!
Hey, I found Robbie, guys.
Hey guys, I'm back. No, I was just sort of, I don't know. I found a TV in the other room and was watching some baseball. So while you were doing whatever you were doing, I was actually watching sports. So it sort of made up for it. So how do you have fun?
I had a blast. Yeah,
great.
I hope you guys had fun too.
We may have lost all our watchers, but that's our viewers. But that's okay.
That's okay. Whatever.
But by the way, this is actually part one of two of the Kyle birthday celebration on the show. So you're gonna have to stay tuned to next episode because we've got a part 2 coming. So stay tuned. You do not want to miss this. I promise part 2 will be more sports related. But all right, so now we're going to move on to sort of the other segments that we like to do on this show. And I guess I'll start with mine, which is the Robbie's favorite football recap.
All right.
And so we'll start, again, high school level, working our way up. In the high school action, Wellesley, like I said last week, was 4-0, heading into a big Tilwood Natick, who was also 4-0 last Friday night. Unfortunately, the Raiders came up a little bit short against the Red Hawks. 14-13 was the final. Wellesley was down 14-0.
Okay.
Came back and made it 14-13, and then decided to go for 2 in the win late in the fourth quarter, but unfortunately couldn't convert, and so they end up falling by 1 point. Natick's a really tough team, and so
they're not easy to beat.
It sounds like it was quite the battle there. So obviously, hopefully the team can sort of rebound, and they actually have a bye week this week, which is rare in Wellesley High football history, having a bye week during the season. But so they will return to action a week from this coming Saturday when they host Brookline at Wellesley High, and they have actually 2 more games left in the regular season before playoffs, so looking to end the season on a high note. College level, BC, had kind of had a tough loss against Wake Forest. Then rebounded with a win against Rutgers, which I was talking about last week. Unfortunately, went to Louisville last Saturday and came up a bit short as well, losing 41-39. Real back and forth game.
Close games.
Yeah, lost their quarterback, Anthony Brown. Unfortunately, not quite sure what his prognosis is, but the backup actually, I forget. And the funny thing is, I'm forgetting the guy's name off the top of my head, but came in, actually performed really well. Like I said, sort of kept them in the game, and unfortunately, like I said, just came up a little bit short, falling by 2 to Louisville. So BC also has a bye week this week, and they'll be back in action also a week from Saturday when they host North Carolina State. And then finally, the Patriots continued their winning ways. The one good team this week in the Robbie's favorite football recap. They beat the Redskins 36-7, I believe is the final score in Washington.
Yeah.
So the Pats now stand at blew them out. So the Pats now stand at 5-0 on the year, and then they will be actually back home a couple nights from now. It's a Thursday night game this week. They will be hosting the New York Giants at Gillette Thursday night. So
okay.
Hopefully they can keep the winning ways going. And a side note, Tom Brady only needs 17 more passing yards to move to second all-time on the all-time passing yards, as he would pass Peyton Manning.
Oh, wow.
And it's kind of funny because he could pass Peyton Manning on Thursday playing against Peyton's brother Eli's team.
Oh, okay.
And at home, too. So a lot of little side notes there going into Thursday night's game. So, so that does it for Robbie's Favorites football recap. And now we're going to move on to our fantasy football recap for this week, where it was a bit of a tough week. This past week, not gonna lie. So Kyle, why don't you lead it off for us this week?
All right, so guys, I won fair and no, I did not win. Just kidding. Yeah, I didn't. Unfortunately, it wasn't that kind of week for me, but that's okay. You know, you get back up afterwards. So, whoa, hold on, sorry. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna see if I can try to get this thing to work. Come on, fantasy, you can do it. No, I don't. Okay, my phone apparently doesn't want me to... Okay. Come on. Why is it doing this? Oh my god.
Here, I can...
Remind me later.
I can pull up...
I got it.
I was about to say, I can
pull
up your team if you need me to.
Okay. Good, sorry, my phone's just acting kind of like weird.
It's technology.
Right. Yeah, right? I don't trust it. So I'll go back to week 5. So that's the only week we need to talk about, right? Just this past week. All right. So this was an interesting game. I was predicted to lose anyways, like by 20 points or whatever. I lost by about 40 points, but it could have been worse. I was actually losing by even more, but I did get some. Well, I did get an A though in the matchup category, whatever that means.
I don't get that, but hey, A is an A,
right?
A for effort.
Yeah. Whereas, so my quarterback Winston, he's really good. I liked him a lot. Stephon Diggs didn't do quite as well this week. Wasn't really his week, but whatever. He racked up about 4 points. So the biggest star here right now. This was a big surprise. It was Allen Robinson. He got me 21 points, which was incredible. I made a mistake this week, guys. I'm going to explain to you my mistake right now. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Kyle made a mistake.
I know.
Oh no, head for the hills. The hills.
Oh god, what are we going to do? So I put Christian Kirk in, and I forgot that he was out for the game on Sunday. Yeah, I just realized it. It was one of those moments where I'm sure everyone's had those moments when they play fantasy where it was like, it's 1 o'clock. You're like, oh, look, it's 1:01. You're like, oh, wait a second. And you forget, and you realize, oh, yeah. So
that's too late.
Yeah. Chubb, unfortunately, he kind of underperformed for him. He had about 9 points, but it's whatever. I'm still keeping him. The guy's the best. So... Either way, the other this was a really big one for me. I was really surprised, was Matt Breida. He really stepped up and he got 24 points.
Wow, good job, Matt Breida.
Yeah, that guy's amazing. And everyone else did okay. The LA defense was 14. Amazing. LA Chargers, I think it was. Yeah, Chargers. And also my kicker, Justin Tucker. This guy's unbelievable. He scores a lot of points for a kicker. Jeez. Other than that's about it. 113 to 152. Well, it's whatever.
It's alright, bud, because honestly, I think you performed better than I did this week, as I now wait to pull up my team's score. Come on, phone. Hold on.
Robbie's phone hates it too.
I know, I'm having such a... Oh, here we go. Alright, so I'll start out in our league. Where I had a really tough week. I lost 123.72 to 68.36. Now, I was actually projected to win the game, but unfortunately, Sammy Watkins did nothing for me for the Chiefs.
Oh, really?
He got 0 points. Also, Taylor
0
Gabriel.
Points?
Taylor Gabriel ended up missing the game.
Were they bench him or something?
They just didn't. The Chiefs did not perform well at all in their
Wow.
game against Kansas City.
That's
I mean, against the Colts.
against themselves.
Yeah, against themselves. Yeah.
Very
Let's see
funny
who
shit.
had good performances for me. Calvin Ridley actually did pretty
Oh,
well. He
okay,
got
okay.
14 points for me.
It's not bad.
Jacoby Brissett, my quarterback, got 11 points. Zach Ertz, my tight end, got 11 points. My kicker got 8 points. So I mean, it was just one of those things where guys underperformed and guys for the other team kind of overperformed. And the funny thing is, the guy I was playing against had 2 starting players on the IR on the injured reserve, and still managed to get 123 points against me. So because one of his wide receivers was only projected to get 7 points and got 39 points.
Oh, that's frustrating.
Yeah, so I'm having a tough time in this league, which is my league, ironically. I'm 1-4 so far, lost 4 straight.
Oh.
So I'm looking to hopefully get back on track this week. In my other league, I also lost, unfortunately. I lost 159.54 to 147.44. So I was somewhat close.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes underperformed a bit, which was disappointing.
Oh, yeah.
But Aaron Jones, running back for the Packers, he had an amazing game.
Oh, wow.
He was projected only to get 15 points. He got 52. Wow. And then Watkins, of course, just did not do anything for me. So, I got 8 points from my kicker, Robbie Gould. I got 6 points from my defense. Could have been a bit better. Tyler Lockett picked up 17 points for me, which was pretty good. It happens. In that league, I'm currently 3-2, so I'm still above 500. I'm in 6th place, so looking to get back on track this week. We'll see what happens. But, unfortunately, both kind of had a tough week in fantasy, so we'll be looking to respond and do better next week. So hopefully next time we talk to you guys, we'll be better. So no food review tonight because we already did the Chateau and Waltham. So I guess we're gonna wrap it up. Wrap up this week's episode. Thank you as always for watching. Hope you enjoyed Kyle's segment there as well as everything else. And like I said, stay tuned for part 2 of sort of Kyle's birthday celebration coming up next week or whenever we film next. But until then, thanks for watching as always, everybody. He's Kyle. I'm Robbie. This is The Couch, and we are signing off from it. See you later.